I think for me, my breaking point was when I remember so clearly Halloween night.
Mm.
Um, I got dressed up as Dark Angel, and so
Wow.
I was just like, okay, this is my alter ego is coming out. I don't even
Right.
know if I didn't consciously decide that that was it, but that night I just completely went nuts. Like just my
Mm.
friends at the end of the night were
We're
just
like,
like, okay, we're
whoa.
just gonna leave her at the party. Like she's just out of hand. And nobody talked to me after. There was one friend, she actually reached out to me and
Wow.
said, hey, what is going on with you? Like, this is Vanessa we've never seen before. Right.
Mm.
And that was where it was like, okay, I did such a great job hiding it for so long that,
Right.
now that it's out, that there's
You
something
can't take that
I'm
back.
not addressing, right? It's like my friends are all kind of like, whoa, 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 what is going on? That was where it really kind of like blank slate, like it just kind of like wiped
Those
me
are
out.
eye-opening moments where you're like, what happened? And then they're like, yeah, did you see the Instagram photos? Like the
Yeah.
car's in the tree now. And you okay? And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. There's moments of, I would call it shame. I would call it
Mhm.
regret, where
Mhm.
Tony Robbins will call it like burning the boats, where you need to
Mhm.
burn the boats before you storm the beach, because then
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to have that hesitancy along the way. You're not truly going to want to take over the beach. There's
Yes.
parts of me that are reserved. And
Yes.
in some of the content that I create, I'll talk about, I'm really, really good. And I don't know if you can relate to this, Vanessa, where
Mhm.
if I take like imagine a flashlight and I turn the flashlight on and I'm shining it
Yeah.
over here.
Yes.
I'm really good at drawing attention to what's in the light,
Yes.
but I don't. Do you see where I'm going? Where
Yes.
on the other side, where there is no light, not that it's the darkness or
No,
there's things, it's more of a, by drawing attention to only to the light, I'm not giving recognition to those parts of my life
totally.
that need work. There's, in recovery, we'll call it shadow work.
Mhm.
It sounds silly, but there's still work I need to do in the shadows. Because if I were
Yes.
to right now, like let's say I had 10 years of just living with my alter ego in your
Mhm.
reference, and I just didn't give it light and I just kept it in the back and I didn't give it voice. And if you're
Yeah.
watching, you can like I'm almost hiding behind it.
Yes.
And now if I take the light and I shine it on it right away, it's going to be a scary moment. Like that's going to give me heart
Yeah.
palpitations. That's going to be, I'm getting older now.
Yeah.
I can't do that anymore. The younger version of me, maybe, but I'm not 19 anymore. I've got,
Mhm.
I've got a bigger calling for my life other than what I think I should be or whatever my ego tells me I should be. And not trapping my
Mhm.
ego, but identifying it. We talked earlier about identifying that part of ourselves, and that can be huge. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
that the shadow is bad. I'm not saying that these are things that need to be expunged. But what I am saying is it doesn't need to be light and dark, and there can be areas that are gray, but it doesn't need to be gray permanently. It doesn't need to be shadow
Yeah.
forever. We can
No.
bring that forward and saying, my friend sat me down and was like, Jason, we need to talk about Saturday night because something you tell me what's going on, what's happening. And there's times where I've been in
Right.
the same conversation and I swept it under the rug, shut
Yes.
them out, and I cut them off. It
Yeah.
didn't matter if it was my mom,
Like, what are you
my
talking
best
about?
friend, coworkers, and I it wouldn't have mattered because I myself wasn't ready. I wasn't in a position.
Yeah.
I wasn't in recovery. We'll call it open, willing, and ready.
Mm.
If I'm not in that position, I'm not going to be open to receiving it.
Yes.
And that's huge. That's coming to that event
Mm.
crisis point. And maybe for you, that's what it was. And maybe that side conversation offline, privately, meant more
Mhm.
to you than in the moment. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that that's what it is, but I'm more open to conversations privately than I am in public. Meanwhile, the
Mhm.
spectacle, the that Saturday night, you could have talked to me and I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you can relate, but there's parts of me, if it's making decisions, then it's going to probably not end up well.
Yeah. No, I can totally relate. I think that's the thing. It's like it's have I think what it is having that recognition
Mhm.
that someone else can see that shadow that
Right.
is giving that acknowledgement to say, "Hey, I
Yeah.
see you, I hear you. Let's bring it to light," right? Whereas if I was to do it on my own, I wouldn't do that, right? Because I've been so good at pushing it to one
Right.
side, right? So like having that acknowledgement is so key, right? And this is what we do in coaching as well. The first thing you want to do is acknowledge where you're at, right? And just like you had your three steps, it's basically, yeah, like you want to be able to see, like there's nothing wrong with opening yourself up to it all, right? Like it's really about like this is truly who like what it means to be human, right? So, and I love that you're sharing this. You're so passionate about this, and we didn't
Mhm.
even dive into this yet. Like